Okay, so let's go back to assignment 8 and look at how algorithmic thinking might be applied to that assignment. To refresh your memory, in case you haven't been working on it, assignment 8 was the email extractor. So we're going to we have some text with email addresses in it, and I want you to take all the email addresses out, clean them up, and put them in a list. So the part that we're going to focus on today is a simple algorithm for cleaning up those email addresses and making sure that we don't have any junk characters in there. So let's look again at the rules for email. Has to have an @ sign with text before and after. Has to have at least one period after the @ sign. Has to have 2 characters after the period at the very end. It cannot end with punctuation or start with punctuation. And the email itself can contain periods, hyphens, underscores, and the @ sign, in addition to letters and numbers. Okay? So with those rules in mind, we can start to think about how do we take an email address that's part of a group of text, maybe like this, right? I've got bmosley@bakersfieldcollege.edu. I think we can agree that that's a valid email address, but if you also notice at the end, it's got a parenthesis and a period, and at the beginning, it's got a left parenthesis also. So what do we do with that? Well, we talked about before is we use the @ sign to recognize the email address, but we can also use that as a way of splitting that email address so that we can deal with the front half of the email address and deal with the back half of the email address separately. So if we split it, then we get 2 pieces, right? We have the front half of the email address with the parentheses and the back half with the parentheses and the period. Now, using your brain's own algorithm, you can see what needs to go away. But now we have to teach the computer how to recognize that. So we have to come up with a procedure or a set of rules that the computer can follow. So if I split this, and I have this half and this half, I know that I need to get rid of the first character here and the last characters here. But I can simplify this a little bit more. And if I take that first part and flip it so that it's backwards, now you can see I've got this, and they are essentially the same problem now. I have characters at the end of each one of these strings that need to go away. So rather than treat the front half and the back half differently, I can use the same code to clean this one that I used to clean this one. And that code, if I'm writing it in pseudocode, I'm going to say for each letter in that string, or for each character in that string, I'm going to ask, is it a valid character? So is it valid? Yes. Is it valid? Etc., all the way to the end. And I get to here. And all the way, as I'm asking, are these valid? If the answer is yes, I'm going to take this character and park it somewhere else. I'm going to add it to another string. As soon as I get to a character that's not valid, I not only do I not add it to the new string, but I can stop because I know the email address is not going to continue on the other side of this. Once I hit an illegal character, I know that the email is over. The email address is over. I can stop looping through the letters. It doesn't matter what's out here because after that, that's no longer part of the email address. So when I have those, then it's just about reconstruction, which is really just doing the opposite, right? I've got to flip this back, and then I've got to put the 2 halves back together with an @ sign in the middle of it. And that is the algorithm in pseudocode.